All right, people, we are back, and welcome to the psychedelic laundromat. I almost said psycho laundromat, but no, that's not the case. It's
No,
the
that's the other laundromat down the street.
yeah, not this. But yes, we're here for we're here for to continue the omnibus ride here at the psychedelic laundromat, where we open for about 2 hours now, talking some more King of the Hill, and how appropriate because Mario Party's taking place in Western land, so they're going to be drinking a lot of beer down there for the
And I
next
had to get to
50
her.
turns.
I gotta get to her YouTube page to monitor it.
The what?
I have to get to her YouTube page to monitor it.
Oh, moderate it. Okay, because I heard monitor, hall monitor. I'm like, what?
Excuse me, I'm like doing 5 things at once.
Well, for all of us here, from me, Sylph, Mooney, and Circus, we are all going to talk about the third season of King of the Hill. We're going to start off with Bobby falling in love. That's how this season's going to start. And then
God damn it, Bobby.
so Bobby is on his way through the hall of his middle school, and he runs into a hall monitor called Marie. And so, in order to get past the hall monitor, he tells her that his real name is Ramon Taveras, as to make sure. So, because he doesn't want her to know what his real name is, but she finds out anyway because she knows who he is because he's like the stand-up comic guy, or he's like the performer, and everybody knows who he is. So she laughs at his jokes, and it's like, just go on ahead, whatever. Meanwhile, all the guys are find this like old couch just sitting where they usually sit. It's like, that's our spot. Why is there a couch in our alley? So they try to get the trash guys to move it, but they're like, nope. And so Marie, the hall monitor, is actually still laughing at Bobby's jokes, and so because she thinks he's really funny, and Connie is not having it
Oh,
because
she's jealous.
it's like, what's so funny about that? And they don't know. But it's like, it's just comedy. What can he do? So the guys try to see if they can move the couch on their own, but they're like, we got to get rid of this couch. But then they decide to just sit in it, and then they realize, we can actually sit and drink beer instead of actually standing and drinking beer. Huh.
I'd rather sit and drink beer.
So anyway, Hank receives a phone call, and it's Marie, and of course Hank thinks it's a practical joke, like, oh, who the hell, a girl calling Bobby? Yeah, right. And then and it's like, oh no, this is real. It's like, oh, okay, it's some girl. Hopefully, it's not Joseph pretending to be a girl. So Marie invites Bobby out to go with her friends to the mall. And then we find out Maria's a vegetarian. So Bobby is like, I can't eat meat, and they're like, no, you have to eat something. It's like, can I have a BLT but just take out the B? They also think that a vegetarian is somebody that doesn't eat anything with a head on it. So lettuce
So,
goes out the window.
there goes your my love life. Then it's
My
Yep.
daddy told me if God didn't want us to eat meat, he wouldn't have invented steak sauce. Your dad said that one time. Bobby, 100. It takes about 100 chickens to feed a village, to feed a starving village, and even though that's a good thing, it's still bad. So as they get back from the mall, they sit on the couch that's outside. They sit down, and Marie says, "Hey, do you want to kiss?" And it's like, "Well, I never done, I've never really done that before." And it's like, and then he's just like, "Oh, please, can we kiss more?" It's like, "No, I gotta go." And then Bobby automatically thinks that they are partners. And so he's like, he keeps telling Hank and Peggy that he's got a partner, and they're just not listening to him. And it was like, okay, what's this about Marie? Who is this Marie person? And it's like, whoa, would you look at that? Bobby got a partner. This is a real person, right? It's not one of your figments of your imaginations. No, Dad. Meanwhile, the trash people actually try to take a couch away, and the guy's like, "No, don't take the couch. This is our couch. But you just told us to get rid of the couch. It's our couch now." So Marie decides to ask Bobby to go with them again, and Bobby tries to invite Connie and Joseph, but they're just like, "Nah, we want to do other things." And Marie finds him boring, and Bobby's like, "Well, if my partner finds it boring, then I will find it boring too." So they go clothes shopping. For some reason that sounded weird to me saying that, but yeah, they go clothes shopping, and we also find out that Dale wiretaps his own phone conversations and like puts them in cassette tapes afterwards, and then writes down in little bitty writing like exactly what the conversation on the phone was about, and he's got hundreds of them. So he's the Tommy Wiseau of the group. So so Bobby and Marie get done with clothes shopping. They sit back on the couch again. It's like, you wanted me to kiss you last time. Now I want a kiss from you. If you're gonna compensate, you gotta be in favor of my feelings too. Okay. And they just kiss, and then Marie, while kissing, is checking her watch. It's like, I gotta go.
She's definitely using him for something.
Oh, by the way, Connie is watching them kiss while she's trying to take out the trash, and she runs into the house crying.
Oh man, Connie, girl, you can do so much better.
I'm telling you, he's a fucking simp.
Wait, who? What? Simp who? Like, who are you talking about?
Fucking Bobby's a simp for
Oh
girls.
yeah. Well, we'll get into like one of the later seasons where he's like supposed to be a guidance counselor.
Oh no, I remember that one.
Well, we'll get to that much later. But so they're at dinner, and Bobby asks, "Hey, Mom, can I have rice and plain toast? I'm a vegetarian." And then Hank's like, "I don't like this girl. She's trying to make you not eat meat." It's like, "But Maria's my partner. We make out." And Peggy's like, "I can't believe he is actually kissing a girl. He is too young to be doing that. He should be waiting till he's a teenager."
Last time I checked, he's 13 years old. He technically can do that shit.
I meant to say adult. He should be waiting till he's 18 to do that, according to Peggy.
Peggy. What we gonna do with you, Nosy?
Bobby also says that Marie said that he's a good kisser, and then Bobby says, like, "When's the last time that you two kissed in public?"
Ow!
And then Bobby says, "You're just jealous because I'm willing to show off my love for Marie and you two don't." And then Peggy says, "Bobby, you should not compare 2 days of infatuation to a 20-year marriage." And then that's when Bobby brings up the kissing thing. Like, I've kissed more in the last 2 days than you have in the last 20 years.
Oh, shit.
And Peggy's like, "No, Hank has kissed me." And Hank's like, "Will you stop talking about kissing?" Meanwhile, Connie's inviting Luann to do math homework. And when I say math homework, that's code word for I'm jealous of Marie. I am in love with Bobby. And Luann's like, oh, thank God, I didn't want to do math anyway. And then Luann says, well, if you and Bobby are meant to be together, then it will eventually happen. That's what happened with me and Buckley before he got blown up at the Megalomart. And then Connie's like, what the fuck was that advice? So Hank and Peggy are going to the hardware store, and Peggy tries to be all like, hey, tries to be all lovey-dovey around Hank. And Hank's like, no, what? Why are you trying to hold my hand? Stop trying to hold my hand. That's like, hey, remember when we used to hold hands? That was 20 years ago. Well, maybe we should start holding hands now. So he reluctantly does it. This old guy just walks by and says, get a room, you two. Oh, then we find out that it was actually Khan who abandoned the couch. And the guy's just like, well, it's our couch now. So anyway, Marie stops by the house to pick up Bobby because they're about to go to like a house party. And Hank's like, Marie, how old are you? I'm 14. Oh my God, he's dating an older woman.
Like 2 years.
Yeah, like he thinks that dating somebody that's older than you is forbidden. Like only guys get, like it's forbidden for guys that date older women. Remember, these are conservatives we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
They believe that only men should be only women should be dating older men. So anyway, oh yeah, because at that point, like even Peggy's like after she finds out that Marie's 14, she drops everything that she's holding in her hands and starts like having starts getting anxious about the fact. It's like, oh my God, he's dating an older woman. So they're at the dance party, and Bobby all of a sudden finds that Marie is dancing with other guys, and so he stops the music. It's like, why were you dancing with those guys? And it's like, but it's like, Bobby, they're just they're my friends. Like, I know these guys a lot, and I dance with them. It's like, yeah, but you're supposed to dance with me and your other girlfriends, but mostly me. And Murray's like, okay, Bobby, you're taking this way too far. And it's like, we're just friends, but we kissed on the couch. Yeah, and that probably was a mistake, Bobby.
On the cat pee couch.
On the cat pee couch, yes. That's like, I don't think we should be friends anymore. Goodbye, Bobby. It's like, wait, I'll do your favorite joke for you. What are you talking about? And so Bobby just spends the next few days just crying and like curled up in the fetal position. Like, it's like, I'm never gonna date women again. And it's like, no, Bobby, that is not Bobby, that is... Yeah, I can't remember what Peggy said. I don't think she even said anything. She just put a blanket on him. The guys even get upset because he's crying on the couch, and it's like, Hank, this is supposed to be the happy couch. It's like, Bobby, you gotta get off the couch, son. So they go to that steakhouse where there's like that 72-ounce steak, where if you eat it in under an hour, it's free. So Marie and her folks happen to be dining at the same place. So Bobby, as they're taking the order, Bobby's like, I want to take that 72-ounce steak challenge. Well, Bobby, are you sure? That's a lot of meat, son. And I want it rare. Which is basically raw meat at this point. So he's just like, yeah, I'm going to eat this entire steak just to piss off Marie.
Spite steak.
Spite steak. So he finishes the whole thing in like 40 minutes. And on the way home, as he's like getting up to his driveway, he starts throwing up. And Connie thinks like, oh, you're throwing up because you broke up with Marie, right? No, I just ate a 72-ounce steak. Oh, God, what was I thinking? It's like, well, after you're done throwing up, do you want to go watch TV with us? It doesn't have to be TV. And then, oh, by the way, the couch got stolen in the middle of the night. And the guys are like, who stole the couch? And then you find out during the end credits it was Bill.
Damn it, Bill.
According to the trivia, where is it?
It's on the bottom of the page.
The animation shifts and becomes slightly different during the closing credits.
Yeah.
Also, this episode was the winner of a Primetime Emmy Award in 1999 for Outstanding Animated Program for programming less than 1 hour.
Yeah, this was right around the same lines of that Tornado episode that also got an Emmy nomination. Alright, so the next episode is Hank trying to get Lady Bird pregnant so they can have puppies.
Oh, I remember that.
She was like, why is Lady Bird wearing my underwear? Hank, she's in heat. We don't have any doggy diapers. That's like, well, I guess it's time to get Mr. Strickland's one of his bloodhounds in order to mate with her, because I refuse to have her mate with any other breed other than what she is.
They portrayed the Lady Bird going into heat a lot nicer than how it normally goes.
How does it normally go?
It's a lot more messy. Dogs, when they go into heat, they get their period. It lasts for 2 to 3 weeks, I think.
Oh, boy.
There's a lot of blood.
Well, we have not had that with Kona yet.
She's fixed, right?
I don't know. I'd have to ask my folks that, because
if she is fixed, that she's not going to be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
because we've had her for about 6 months now. We still had, no blood at all.
Yeah, it would have happened by now.
Okay.
Yep. But still, ask anyway, just to be on the safe side.
So they take Lady Bird to the vet, and they inform her that she's got a narrow uterus. So she's basically Hank. She can't have puppies because
a female Hank. Okay.
Yep, she's. Yeah, so it's like, oh, and so here they go flashback. It's like, well, can we have a baby? No, Hank, the inside of your dick is very small. Even though your dick is huge, the inside of it is very small, so sperm can't go through it. And it's released and it's gotten worse because you have chronic tension in your side. So you're gonna have to do so you have no hope at this point. So meanwhile in this episode, Dale is trying to become a bounty hunter. Because he found out during his gun club, like, one of the guys was wearing a bounty hunter hat, and he's like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me there's a quasi-police force that has no regulations? It's about damn time.
That aged like milk.
Yeah. So he has to take, like, a 4-hour training course in order to become a quote-unquote bounty hunter. And he finds out his first guy is this guy called Jimmy Hellstrom, who's gotten unpaid parking tickets. Like, the hunt is on. So Hank is spending a lot of time trying to get Lady Bird pregnant, and that's pissing Peggy off. And Peggy recalls how Hank refused to do artificial insemination because he was like, that's not supposed to be done on humans. Humans have to do it the old-fashioned way, which is get in a bedroom and, do your thing. We don't need machines to get pregnant for us.
Jeez Louise.
And then, of course, he gets a phone call. It's like, hey, I got Lady Bird to be accepted to the University of Michigan for artificial insemination. And Peggy's like, what the fuck, Hank? Well, it's like, hey, if it could work on French people, and it could definitely work on American dogs.
Jesus.
Oh, by the way, during all of this, like, Hank is like after he found out that Lady Bird had a narrow uterus, he's sitting in the park with her. It's like, I know how you feel, Lady Bird. And then it's like, and then some other dog is trying to hump Lady Bird. It's like, stop it. She's not. Oh, what the hell? It's not gonna matter anyway. And then these two gay guys come up. It's like, buddy, stop it. That is not nice. And Hank's like, oh, hell, you act. It's like, sorry about that, sir. Buddy's been like this ever since we got him as a little puppy. His mother had a hard time getting puppies, but thankfully we got him. It's like, oh, so what's the way to do it? You know, so do you and your brother, do you have any tips that I could do? It's like, yeah, sir. Let's go to this restaurant. We'll tell you all about it. Peggy, I just met these two guys, and before it all went horribly wrong, they gave me some tips. Yeah, trying to check her temperature, trying to, see if she's in heat, it's got to be like 100 degrees and everything, like doing all these things, like putting ribbons in her hair, doing her nails and all that stuff, just trying to make her comfortable. And so there's another flashback. Because they couldn't do in vitro, Hank just decided to get Lady Bird as a puppy in exchange for not being able to get a baby. And, yeah, that's why they got Lady Bird in the first place. By the way, Dale also kidnaps Lady Bird because Dale has been unsuccessful trying to catch this Jimmy guy. And so, because he tried to order flowers, and he foolishly put the bounty hunter hat on while he's trying to go after the guy. So the guy runs away.
He's trying to do the Terminator thing, right?
What? Yes. And then he tries to do it with the pizza delivery, but inside the pizza box is a gun, and he's still wearing the bounty hunter hat. But he runs into a pack full of not bloodhounds, Rottweilers. So Dale decides to kidnap Lady Bird to act as a distraction so that he can get inside the house.
Oh, Lord.
One of the few times that the B story actually coincides with the main story. It rarely happens in this show. But anyway, so Hank and Peggy find out that Dale kidnapped Lady Bird. And so Hank's like, I'm coming, Lady Bird. And then Peggy finally opens up to Hank. It's like, you've been trying to get Lady Bird pregnant a lot more than you were trying to get me pregnant. I mean, what's that supposed to mean, Peggy? I mean, it's like, you put thermometers in your ear. I mean, you wanted to do all the, try to do all this stuff. And well, it's like, yeah, because the reason why I do this for Lady Bird is because it doesn't work on human women. Like, it works for dogs. It's not meant for women. Look, the reason why I want to do this to get Lady Bird pregnant so we can have another puppy. Because remember how when we got Lady Bird, I felt like the only reason we got you pregnant was because I was so relaxed that we ended up having sex on the floor. Like, as soon as I gave you Lady Bird, we just ended up having sex on the floor. Well, I was thinking maybe that could be the case again. Maybe if we had another puppy, it would get us excited again, and then we would have sex on the living room floor again and have another baby.
Maybe you could just go adopt one. It'd be a lot easier this way.
Oh, no, they don't believe in adoption. Remember, these are conservatives. They don't...
You mean adopt a puppy?
Yeah.
Well, again, they don't believe in that either. It's got to be...
What are you talking about getting Lady Bird, not adoption?
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't want to adopt either for dogs. They think that's sacrilegious, too. If you talk to... I've talked to...
Why did they adopt Lady Bird to be... But they adopted Lady Bird. That's...
Exactly.
They were desperate. Now that they're not as desperate, they're willing to go to normal routes now.
Oh yeah, and I just looked up pictures, And I have to say, Lady Bird was really adorable as a pup.
Yeah.
And even when she reacted to seeing Hank and Peggy going,
Yeah, it was
maybe she
like
just tilted her head.
I was like, did you have to do it in front of Lady Bird? She was just like, hey, this is my new home. What are my new owners doing right now?
Yeah, she looked really confused though.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
what?
What is he doing to her?
Well, it's like he's trying to jump over her, but he can't quite make it. Simpsons joke.
Ew, what the hell is he doing to her?
Oh, also, by the way, during this, there's a C story where Bobby is trying to figure out if he's actually adopted. And so he tries to go to Bill, and Bill's like, "Here, you give me more of these dog biscuits, so I can eat them. Then I'll tell you if you're adopted or not." So he gets him the dog biscuits. Like, am I adopted? No, Bobby. Now, if you get me more of these dog biscuits, I'll tell you what your middle name is.
Like he doesn't know his.
Cost like $26 for a pack of 8.
Yes, it's not. You know, that's like, and it's a 2-mile bike ride. That's the deal, Bobby. Meanwhile, Dale finds the guy in the house, and the guy that he's hunting is the mirror image of Dale. They both see each other with the guns. They both drop and put their hands up, and they're both shaking.
It's not just Dale's reflection.
Meanwhile, Dale and him are actually watching things with the SpaghettiOs later. Oh yes, this is a yes, the cowboy stuff. That's a much later episode.
No, I just thought it was cute.
Mm-hmm. That's the Dancing with the Dogs episode. But yeah, they make a reveal that they're gonna try to get pregnant again. Okay, next episode. Oh god, here we go. Peggy is a spanker. So Peggy's gonna get evaluated as a substitute teacher. So what happens is, like, there's that one guy that's voiced by Mike Judge, who's like a Beavis and Butthead type character. I forgot his name. Dooley. So Dooley and Clark Peters are playing jokes on her, like, during class. And, like, she gets needs improvement from the inspector. So the next day, she goes in again, and they're still doing practical jokes on her, and to the point where she gets fed up. But Dooley pulls her pants down, and Peggy is just yeah, and just basically pulls down her pants and like gets stunned for like a few seconds, and then she just spanks him right in the ass, like, oh yeah! And then she automatically thinks she's getting fired, and Hank's like, it's like, well, everybody always told me that I would be good at messing with computers. And so the parents are like, oh, thank God you spanked our boy. Like, he's been asking for it for a while now. We know how much of a handle he is. It's like, okay, let's see. And the principal's like, well, we went through the apology. We got the parents' approval. Hey, Peggy, you're fired. But the parents just said the parents just forgave me for it. There's nothing in this book that says anything about forgiveness. So she loses her job, and then Cotton all of a sudden shows up. And then Peggy is crying while she's doing Peggy's crying while she's trying to do gardening. And she's like, I just got fired for spanking a boy. And then Cotton's like, what? There used to be a lot of spanking in my time. We're going to try to find a way to get you your job back, Hank's wife. So they get the old principal that happens to be in the same VA club that Cotton goes to. And they bring out old Spanky, which is the paddle that a lot of the guys got. They remember old Spanky, let's just say that. It's like one of those paddles with holes in it.
Oh.
So they have a school board meeting, and they try to, and all the parents are campaigning for Peggy to get her job back, because they're like, yeah, all of us teachers, we consider you a role model for spanking these kids. So the school board, well, first of all, Cotton and all his VA buddies and a lot of the parents do a campaign, and then they bring the campaign over to the school board, and the school board says, "Peggy, you got your job back." And because it's a political thing, Peggy now has to bring old Spanky with her to class, and so now she has it in her hand the entire time, like as she's teaching, and anybody that tries to pull a practical joke, she's gonna be like, "Whoop." Meanwhile, Joseph's talking in class, and he's like, "Joseph, what are you talking about?" And it's like, "Don't make me use this on you."
She's drunk with power now.
Yes.
Oh, Spanky. That's what we used to call Uncle Bobo's friend.
Oh, and I would hate to see what happened if a bad circus performance happened.
Let's just say it wasn't pretty.
So at some point, there's a news crew
That's
that
a
comes.
bad one.
There's a news crew that comes along because they're going to interview Peggy and old Spanky. I forgot what the name that they gave her, but they gave her. They gave her a nick.
Peggy.
Yeah, Paddling Peggy. It's like, Hank, they're going to do a story on Paddling Peggy. Where's my paddle? Because somebody took the paddle. And it's like, she's looking all over everybody's trash trying to find it. Bobby and Joseph come up on their bikes. It's like, "Joseph, did you steal this?" I was like, "No, I didn't do anything." And she finds the paddle in the Gribbles trash can, and then she automatically thinks Joseph did it. And she grabs Joseph by the shirt, pulls her up, and is about to spank him with the paddle. Dale's like, "All right, I took it, but you're a mad woman. You've gone mad with power. I had to do something to stop your evil ways."
Of course, Dale.
And everybody in the neighborhood just looks at Peggy with disgust, and they're like, "Wow, she's the bully now." So the next day in class, Peggy, instead of bringing the paddle, brings a mace. And I'm not talking about the pepper mace. I'm talking about the actual mace with spikes on it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
And Dooley's back in class. And by the way, the practical jokes happen again. So it's like, "Oh, you guys want to talk about nothing but violence. Okay, well then let's talk violence in Spain." And then she brings up the mace and how it was used back in the olden days. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, I like this." So at the end of class, she takes the paddle, chops it up and uses it as a mulch for her garden. And Joseph's like, and she's like, "Hey Joseph, you want to come help me?" "I'm sorry." And then that's how the episode ends. By the way, Dooley never got assault charges. By the way,
Damn.
yeah, you would think that the principal would be like, "Oh my god, that's assault. He's going to juvie," but no, they were like, "Not in Texas." Even Bobby was like, "You got pantsed. It's a practical joke, Mom. You're supposed to just take it and then move on." Like that's what was, and everyone was like, "What the fuck, Bobby?"
Mace that Peggy uses is actually a Morning Star or medieval flail. Mace didn't have the chain.
I've seen those a lot. Oh, this next episode. This is the hunting episode. This is like one of those Texas traditions where, when you're 12 years old, you got to go out and get a rifle and you got to go kill a deer because that's your transition from boyhood to manhood. Like, what the fuck?
A little bit. Is it a little bit hypocritical from last season episode about the hunting shit?
Well, that was target practice, and yeah, at least with that they were not killing real things. But in this one, they're just like, "Oh, hey, isn't it cool that, it's the worldwide Texas tradition that's the case." So, what was it? So, Hank tries to go get a hunting permit for the both of them. But the county office is like, "Listen, we're only allowed to give a certain amount of permits a year. And we can't give any more permits for the rest of the year because the environmentalists made an agreement with the government that they would not do as much hunting. It's like, you mean to tell me that a bunch of liberal crackheads said that we can't hunt? What about my son's manhood? Are you telling me environmentalists are gonna make my son a boy for the rest of his life? And it's like, sir, like, you don't understand that sometimes people don't like these things. Maybe your boy just needs to become a man another way.
Yeah, take him to a brothel.
Well, I already tried to take a client there, and I'm not comfortable with that.
Oh God.
So in order to get around it, they decide to go to a La Grunta hotel, which basically gives them the permits. And instead of like, and so like everything's set up, like they got feeders for the deer, and they're like, Dad, it's not the real thing. This place is like set up for us to already kill something. Like, we should have done it like when we were in the actual woods, where we actually had to challenge ourselves to find a deer and kill it. This is too easy. It's like playing level 1 on a video game when we should be playing at the highest difficulty level.
Damn it, Bobby, just shoot your deer. Shut up.
No, even Hank's like, no, I agree with you, son. We should be on level 10. But we're doing level 1 shit. Meanwhile, Connie and Joseph both shot deer, and they're like, oh, now they're both men.
Yeah, I was like that when Connie gave it. I'm a man now.
I'm a man now. My dad's turning me from a girl into a man. I was like, what? He's, and, you know, if this was made later, I would have been like, oh, you're going to be a transgender man now. And she would be like, no, that's not what we mean.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so anyway, Bobby and Hank decide not to go through with it. And at first I was like, oh, they don't want to shoot the deer. But then I was like, oh, no, they just think it's too easy. I would have thought it would have been cool if it's like, oh, hey, they didn't want to shoot the deer because they realized that killing like a deer while it's trying to eat with its family is like just cruel. But no. But what happens is, as they're driving home, Hank's like, you know what? I'm going to make sure that you become a man a different way. You're going to drive my truck.
Oh, Lord.
And while Bobby's driving the truck, they hit a deer on the side of the road.
Well, he technically killed a deer, so there you go.
Yeah, I was like, wow, Bobby, you killed that deer. You just used the truck instead of a rifle. That technically counts. So you're a man now, Bobby. Meanwhile, Peggy's trying to wipe the blood off the bumper of the car so that nobody sees it. This is not one of my favorite episodes, by the way. This was just like, oh god, it's that fucking Texas thing. And they don't even make fun of it very well. Like, this is supposed to be a satirical show, and they just don't do a good job with it. Alright, next episode. This is when, okay, so this episode, Peggy and Hank have been trying to get pregnant 12 times, and 12 times they both failed. I'm not saying that Hank can get pregnant, but they've been trying to get Peggy pregnant, but Peggy is... So they've had sex 12 times in the past however months it's been, and they've been failing 12 times. So... Hank's like, it's like, maybe we should go to a doctor to have you get checked out. Hank, no, doctors make you get naked. That's like, Hank, there's this new thing called an MRI machine. They can just see through your clothes without you taking them off. So they go see a doctor, and they said, Hank, you have a low sperm count. The thing that kills sperm is heat, so you might want to wear boxers instead of underwear, because that will check your body temperature. And then, of course, like, and then the doctor's like, Hank, we need to get a sample of your sperm. Well, before they find out the test results, it's like, Hank, we need to get a sample of your sperm. And it's like, how are you supposed to... It's like, how are you supposed to do that? What, do you have to... Like, are you just going to use that MRI machine to look inside my dick? It's like, no, you have to, whisper. Ha! It's like
I remember that.
It's 8 o'clock at night, and the doctor's, like, on his way out the office, and he knocks on the door. It's like, Mr. Hill, I'm on my way out. You've been in there for a long time. Is everything all right in there? Yes, I'm fine. Have you gone yet? No, I haven't done it yet. Do you need a magazine? Sure. Do you have Mechanics Weekly? Mrs. Hill, what did you tell him?
Dr. Wagner reacted to that one.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he did.
Oh, by the way, Cotton pays them a surprise visit, and turns out that he got Dee Dee pregnant. And they're just like, what the fuck? How could he get pregnant faster than Hank can?
Mm-hmm.
For an evil little bastard, for him, man.
Yeah, so they go to the baby store to get clothes for Cotton and Dee Dee, and everybody thinks it's for Peggy, and they're like, "Oh, thank God, you guys are pregnant again." It's like, nope. Meanwhile, Cotton's getting some PTSD flashbacks, going up against some German and Japanese soldiers after looking at all the babies, because he thinks that taking care of a baby is equivalent to being in the war. So he's like, I'm not taking care of this baby. I'm out of here. I'm out. Bye-bye. And then he just runs away.
Then how the fuck should he get Hank then? If he decided to bail out on this kid.
Well, I think back then he was hoping that Hank would be a lot like him, but he's like, you've disappointed me, Hank. You're not my real son. You're just some blabbering fool that wants his binky because you don't like to shoot guns. You don't like the things I want. You don't even want to go to war. You don't want to be a soldier. I killed 50 men. I expect you to kill 100. Meanwhile, Bobby... Oh, what?
I said, turns out later he names his other son Good Hank.
Yes. Oh, by the way, Bobby does not want another baby in the house because he feels like that it's like, well, they're gonna try to get it right with the new kid because somehow I'm a failure.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like older siblings. They're like, well, they got another baby because apparently I didn't turn out great. And like even Homer in The Simpsons like made a joke about that. Maybe I should just cut my losses, give up on Lisa, make a fresh start with Maggie.
Oh God.
Damn it. Don't remind me, guys. Fuck.
So anyway, they try to find out where Cotton is, and with the help of Bobby, they find out that he's in Las Vegas. So Hank takes Dale and Bill with him to Las Vegas, and they try to visit every strip club in Vegas. And then it turns out that the Cotton is at a craps table.
How in a booster seat.
In a booster seat. It's like, do you allow babies in here? Sir, this is Las Vegas. We don't allow minors in here. So it turns out that Cotton is like, I was planning on going home anyway. And I said, if we have to compare who's the better father, it's you, Hank. I mean, I had you, and you were an absolute failure. But Bobby's a lot better than you. Well, thanks, Dad. I'll take that as a compliment. It's like, Hank, we still have time. Do you want to actually gamble with your dad? Sure, why not? You lose everything. God damn it, I'm gonna kill all of you. Dad, oh God.
Let's just say it. Fucking Hank's parents are lousy parents.
Well, we'll get to his mom. Well, we got to his mom. His mom had sex with her boyfriend on Hank's table.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. She's a lousy mom.
Well, we'll get to the mother episodes. I don't know if it's this season or the next season. Oh no, it is this season. There's a mom episode involving the Golden Girls, but that's a few episodes away. Okay, next one. Luann the next one. This is the dolphin episode. So Luann or Hank convinces Luann to get a job, and turns out there's an application for a golf girl that delivers drinks to a lot of the golfers. So Luann has also been trying to get money of her own, so she gets a job there. And as a gift to Hank for getting her the job, she decides to give her a dolphin experience. Which, by the way, Hank is like, "Oh, I could trade this in for some golf lessons or for a round of golf, right?" And she's like, "But the dolphin thing was a lot more expensive than the golf." And she starts crying, and Hank's like, "Well, good job, Hank, you asshole." It's like, okay, I'll do the dolphin lesson. So they go to the hotel. Hank does the dolphin thing, and at first he's like, "Oh, wow, this dolphin experience is really good. Hey, Luann, I'm king of the world." And then it comes time to start rubbing the dolphin, which, by the way, they don't let you do for obvious reasons. Oh my god. Oh, in Mario Party, they just all got drunk on milk. They got
What the
down
hell
to
did they lace it with?
Wario doesn't want to do the hoot nanny. What the fuck? Anyway, so Hank pets the dolphin, and all of a sudden the dolphin gets attracted to him and starts,
Trying to do the R word to him.
God. Oh my god, he just, we got okay, ladies and gents, we got a horny dolphin in the house. Can we just get the hell out of here before it makes even a bigger mess than it already has been?
Sorry, no turning back on this one.
Oh shit! Somebody get me out of this cave!
Oh no. Sylph is putting a picture of what the picture of looks like as the dolphin's trying to fuck Hank. And then the people at the experience starts like, listen, the dolphin was really attracted to you, and because you were stroking Duke's stomach, and he was trying to be physically active with you. Listen, we'll just give you a couple of gifts. We'll give you a couple of things to make you forget all about it, so you don't sue us. And Hank's like, yes, forget it. Yeah, let's just do that.
Oh yeah, I got a dolphin turn on, and all I got was this shirt.
Well, no, he prefers that over having the videotape being put out on the air. Which, by the way, Lan's like, I'm gonna take this tape, I'm gonna put it on when animals attack, and we're all gonna be famous, and then we're gonna go to L.A.
What the hell, Luann?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this is the MTV generation. This was at a time when being a reality TV star was more important than just being a TV star. This was at a time when the Real World was the most popular reality show on the air. If you were on there, you were a celebrity for forever in the 90s.
This is for Jackass, everybody.
Yeah, and then Jackass came along right after
dolphin emojis.
Dana, I'm going to get you later.
And they just came out with the new dolphin Pokemon too.
No!
So anyway, it's like, Luann, we have to let anyone not know that this happened. This secret is between you and me. Hank, Uncle Hank, are you threatening to kill me? Of course not. The way that they both delivered that line, Brittany Murphy and Mike Judge, it was so perfect. So anyway, while Luann's doing her job, like, one of the guys decides to give her putting lessons. When I say putting lessons, I mean grab her ass. So,
That's sexual assault, sir. I won't take it.
Yeah, and Luann tells Bobby, and Hanks overhears it. And it's like, what, did you report him? And Luann's like, no, of course not. Remember, you taught me that we should keep these things to ourselves because it will make us happier that way.
Double standard.
Yeah, so Hank finally decides to open up about his dolphin experience with Peggy. And then it's like, wow, it actually feels better to talk about this thing. And so he tells all the guys, and all the guys start laughing at him, and then Bill starts crying. It's like, the same thing happened to me! Wait, what? The dolphin got you too? Yeah, I wanted to do it because I thought it would make me forget all about Lenore. And then and then the dolphin attacked me, and then they got me a free round of golf. And then Hank decides to break.
Dude.
And then Hank's like, all right, I'm taking all the hotel stuff back. And he's like, I want to make sure this experience never happens to anyone else again. And then he catches that golfer guy assaulting Luann again. So he just grabs him, throws him in the pool, and then activates the dolphins. Activates the dolphin, and then the dolphin goes after the golfer. And then so like, oh
gosh.
Dolphin powers.
People see it. One of them's a boy with a camera.
Yeah, and he's just like, And then of course the dolphin trainer's like, what do you see in these people? Why can't it be me?
That dolphin trainer had too many fucking Lisa Frank posters posted up in the 90s.
So the dolphin gets sent away back to the ocean, and then Luann says at the end of it, oh, by the way, I sent the tape to an animal's attack. God damn it, Luann. We're gonna be famous!
Should have recorded the guy getting assaulted.
Okay, the next one is a Peggy episode.
Oh
God, here we go.
Well, we already had a Peggy episode with the spanking, so this one's now a,
Golf
Yeah, but-
greater than
Yeah.
golf out.
yeah, but I went to the bathroom during that one.
Oh, well, this one, she becomes part of a pageant show.
Uh,
And the only reason she does the pageant show because she wants to get a Chevy Silverado. It's like, well, it's got a 5.3 liter V8 engine. That's better than Hank's truck.
That's kind of helped Hank.
And so she's like, Hank, do you think I can win the beauty contest? And he's like, no.
That's a supportive husband there, guys.
It's like, am I hot enough? No, you are not hot enough.
Why'd you marry me, Hank?
That's like, I married you because you're you. I didn't marry you because of your other things.
Yeah, right.
Remember, we had mono over the phone. No, you had a bad back, Hank, but then you told me it was mono. After I found out it was mono, because you kissed another girl. Well, you lost your virginity. Well, you lost your virginity to some other guy.
And this is what it sounds like when Hank and Peggy Hill goes on Jerry Springer. Thank you, guys.
Oh, Jesus.
So Luann is gonna be Peggy's stylist, and so Peggy's mingling with the other competitors, and it turns out they're a lot more. Well, it turns out a lot of them are better educated, have a lot more success, and have better families than Peggy does. And so Peggy doesn't realize, like, oh, not only are these women, like, more attractive than I am, but they have a more successful life than I do. Holy shit.
So basically, they had their way in.
And then Peggy...
What, buddy?
Yeah, Peggy goes up to Nancy and says, "You know what, Nancy? This competition should be about how big the women's brains are, not what their boobs are like." And that the judges,
you sweet summer child, Peggy.
and the judges should all and because the judges always pick the women with big boobs as the winners. And then she's like, "Oh, you mean women like me?" And so they try to go to Mr. Strickland to try to get him to sponsor Peggy. And Buck is like, "Oh, so Luann is the contestant. Oh, well, you know I like them pretty girls. Hey, I'll give him $2,000. And it's like, wait a minute, it's Peggy? Oh my God, we're going to lose. And they try to put Luann tries to put highlights in Peggy's hair, but Luann failed the highlight part of the class that she's in. So Peggy fires Luann and tries to get somebody else to come in, and of course Luann does not take it well.
What the hell you want, buddy?
She looked like she had orange tiger stripes.
Yes.
Was called a clown.
Peggy, just fucking wear a wig, you stupid woman.
Well, and the new stylist, they make her, they give her a new thing. What the fuck was that? Sounded like a siren going off.
Were you in Silent Hill?
I don't know. Anyway, so they show Peggy her new look, and Lady Bird just immediately does not recognize her and starts borking at her.
Bark, 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 bark.
Bark you, bark.
But of course, Bill is turned on by this. They not realize that it's Peggy. It's like, oh my god, she waved at me.
Bill, you're an idiot.
Oh, so the contest is starting, and the judges are there. It's like, Mrs. Hill, we understand that you speak fluent Spanish. So the judge asks her a question in Spanish, and she just says, "Sí." So it's kind of like that. So it's kind of like the Spanish version of that one Miss America contestant that went viral back in 2008. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but yeah, that was bad.
Which one, the homophobic one?
Yes, the homophobic one.
Oh, alright.
Who then went on The Amazing Race to try to say, like, not all models are dumb. That was the only reason she went on that show. It's like, I can win at a contest, and then she got third place. And she said, well, no, and then she was like, oh, hey, I got third place, but at least I beat out the lesbian couple.
The fuck?
Anyway, so, and so, of course, it's the day, the day of the pageant happens, and then she's like, oh my god, my butt is too big. So they try to duct tape her ass. And then, the duct tape gives away, and then her ass starts hanging out. And then she's like, oh, I can't go to the contest now because my butt's too big. And so Hank just drives up in his truck. He just painted it white and said, here, Peggy, here's the white truck you wanted. And it's like, I didn't marry you for your ass. I married you because you're Peggy Hill. It's like, I'm driving home. Oh, and by the way, and the episode ends with Luann botching another hairdo for Peggy, making it look like a troll doll.
Yeah.
And this is just to spite Peggy for firing her. So she purposely fucked up Peggy's hair because she got fired.
Because she fucked up Peggy's hair.
Yes.
Fun little fact, the man who interviews Peggy in Spanish, that was voiced by Eric Estrada.
Yes.
Ooh.
Who some of you might know as the guy who goes, there he is.
Mm-hmm.
Or like one dude off of Chips.
Yes, Mr. L, we're not talking about lesbians on this show, despite you just walking in when we're talking about that. But no, we were talking about The Amazing Race and how that one person, yeah, you know the story. You can see it later. Okay, here we go, a Thanksgiving episode. Funny enough, that was just yesterday. So this is like they all, by the way, this is another, Hank's mom shows up in this one. So here we go. So it's like, it's basically Hank's mom's turn to come over for Thanksgiving, but Candace is like, I don't give a fuck. I'm coming over because it's Thanksgiving and I'm going to spend time with not my son.
My grandson, basically.
I'm hanging out with Bobby. Hank, you mean nothing to me. So, oh, and by the way, they decide to just have like Hank's mom and Hank's dad in the same room. It's like, your mama didn't give me enough babies. She gave me you, Hank. She was lousy in the bedroom. Hank doesn't even bother to defend his mom when he says that. And it's like, how could you not defend your mother, Hank? It's like, well, you know what Dad's like at at the holidays. And then Hank's mom comes in and she's like, wow, thank you, Peggy. That was a great dinner. Good night, son. And he just takes it like, well, at least she said good night to me. It's like, Hanky, you don't know the first thing. And by the way, Peggy's plan is to have everybody get up at 4 a.m. the next morning on Black Friday so they can go shopping for Christmas presents. Because she's like, I am not getting any more Dallas Mavericks stuff because they ran out of Cowboys merchandise. By the way, the guys are all going to what do they call it? A focus group about the new lawnmower that their favorite mower company's going to put out. So,
lovely.
Oh, of course, Hank doesn't invite Bill because he doesn't think Bill's going to have an opinion. Basically, Hank just thinks for Bill all the time. And then Bill gets like, well, you never invite me to these things. Yeah, because I always think for you, Bill. Okay, fine, you can go. But whatever I say, you just not in agreement with me, okay? Oh, and also, Dale and Bill tell Cotton that they're doing the focus group. And it's like, we may or may not have gone to the bathroom, and we may or may not have run into Cotton, and we may or may not have told him about the focus group. Also, Con is in this focus group. And so...
Fucking Con.
So it's them, Cotton, Con, a priest that has lost his religion, a car salesman, and that's it. And then it's the guy that basically runs the place. And then they have like one of those double glass pane windows where there's somebody's watching on the other side. So it's like an interrogation at the police station, pretty much. Except they're trying to find out, do people really like this mower? Meanwhile, Luann trying to pass off as a single mom with Bobby as her son. But it's like, guys love single moms.
Yeah, because they think you're easy.
Well, spoiler alert, no they don't. Like, being a single mom is like date repellent. I know a couple of single moms that have been trying to get dates with people, and as soon as they say that they have a child, it's just, they just get mad. It's like, this guy is so hot, he had six-pack abs, and we were so good, and then I said I had a daughter, and then he just did not want to be with me anymore. And then, of course, we go to the movies, and there's, like, a trailer for, like, a single mom movie that comes out, and they make that exact joke, and then she starts crying.
Oh.
Yeah, so, yeah, like, being a single mom or being a single dad is not that easy for people, especially when you're trying to date.
Dane was like, not true.
So they unleash this new mower, and everybody's excited for it because it's got all the bells and whistles on it. And Hank's like, I hate this mower. This is not what my mower looks like. But everyone else likes all the bells and whistles. And so Hank, this is basically a parody of the 12 Angry Men play. If anybody's ever watched the movie version in black and white. It's basically like there's only like one person on the jury that thinks that the guy's not guilty and everyone else thinks he's guilty. This is the same thing except it's a lawnmower. And now Hank's trying to convince everyone that the lawnmower is a piece of shit. And so he's able to convince everybody. One of the favorite things that he was able to convince Dale. It's like, Dale, you might want to look in the mirror because your eyebrows are getting smaller. Really? And then he turns the lights off and he sees like the people watching on the other side of the mirror. It's like, who are these people? Oh, they're just the people. They're just trying to get inside your head. See what you think.
Don't fuck with a conspiracy theorist. They will go insane.
No, that was I was rewatching the episode and I had to replay that a few times because it was probably one of the funniest jokes in the entire show. That nothing is compared to that moment right there. So finally it comes down to Cotton being the only one that's in favor of the lawnmower. It's like, I like this mower a lot more than I liked your mom. I like this mower a lot more than I like you, Hank. And then finally Hank has enough and he's like, listen, you have talked bad about my mom for the last few days, for the past few hours. And if you ever talk bad about my mom again, then you're not welcome at Thanksgiving dinner. Meanwhile, Hank's mom walks into a room that thinks is the bathroom, and he overhears Hank saying this, and finally she forgives him for everything that he didn't say at Thanksgiving dinner. By the way, Peggy, meanwhile, Peggy in all this has a broken, what's the bottom of the shoes called?
Oh,
Heel.
Versal.
Something happened like Peggy's shoe. It's like the thing comes off on the bottom of it.
Soul. Heel.
It's sole. She was trying to get her sole fixed at the shoe store. And then she ends up falling asleep, and then the mall closes while she's still sleeping in the shoe store. And that's how
do they usually still have doors?
Well, they closed the doors on Peggy as she was still sleeping.
Oh God.
Oh boy, I'm not a fan of this next one. This is like some backyards hillbilly incest shit. Nobody learned anything in this. This was just like, oh, why did this episode even air?
Is it the one where Bobby fucking like has to fake marry Luann or something?
Yes.
Oh, I hate this one.
Elliot, no.
Oh. This one didn't even have a satirical thing to it. It's just like, okay, so we're gonna promote backyard. We're gonna be doing like that whole, like,
Shotgun wedding.
It's like, oh, hey, marry my cousin because you did a practical joke. I can't even talk about the episode because it's just brutal. They just basically like traumatized Bobby and Luann for that matter.
Bobby fucking like walks in on Luann naked. Apparently, they play a joke on saying he has to marry her. Yeah,
it's bad. It's just bad all around. And Hank and Peggy just come off looking like assholes.
They are assholes. What the fuck you talking about?
Well, it's just another thing to add to the list, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay, here we go. Next one. This is the infamous Christmas episode involving Bill.
Aww.
Well, man, I sure do love Christmas. I especially enjoy the time where Lenore left me on Christmas Eve 20 years ago. Yep, best thing that ever happened to me. No, not 20 years ago, but like 1991. Yeah. Best thing 7 years, sorry. Best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm sorry, but he's still probably pine over Lenore at this point if it was a real thing.
Oh, well, here's what went down. So there's a tradition at the Hill House where they always invite Bill over for holiday dinners because apparently Bill has no family. Except we all know he's got a family over in New Orleans.
Yeah, which is funny, right?
But we'll get to that episode later. But yeah, there's a reason why he doesn't go back there anymore. But anyway, everyone else in the family is just fed up with him because, first of all, he brings up Buckley to Luann. It's like, oh, remember that boyfriend of yours that blew up?
God.
Well, it's like, you know, it's everybody gets, you know, everybody's lucky if they get like one person in their life. And then it's like, oh, hey, Bobby, what's the name of that girl that dumped you? Marie. Hey, Peggy, remember that guy that you liked? He didn't like you.
What the hell?
And then meanwhile, the next day it's like, Hank, I can't have Bill in this house anymore. And it's like, and Bobby's like, I agree, Dad. Like, I can live without him. And it's like, listen, that man blocked for me. That man blocked for me when I needed him on that football field. And the guy that can't look after his teammate after he's going through a hard time, that's somebody that I would not like to be. Shame on you. Shame on you both.
Y'all remember
He's an
that in the
asshole.
future episode.
What?
I'll just say, remember that, Hank, in the future episode.
Oh, yeah.
The tattoo episode.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, it's like, yeah, your family doesn't want him here, but I'm forever grateful for Bill for what he did on the football field. Football players are assholes, honey. The next night at dinner, Bill brings over a pet iguana.
What the hell?
It's like, so what? Did they run out of dogs there, Bill? No, iguanas are good pets. Come on, eat up. Come on, Lenore. You named it Lenore? Well, it just looks like an Lenore to me. She's just shy, especially when there's too many people in the house, Luann.
Then go home, Bill.
Oh, it's like, Hank, that iguana is a cry for help. A disease-ridden cry for help. And then Bill just walks into their bedroom, and he's like, I just had a dream that Lenore came back and stole Lenore. And then I ran out of the house crying for them, going, Lenore! Lenore! And then my teeth fell out. Peggy, you were there. Can I sleep on your couch?
This man needs help.
Peggy's like, I'm giving you 24 hours to get me out of that man's dreams. So Hank just tells Bill, don't come over tonight. Just try to focus on being happy, okay? Yeah, no, I get it. I don't want to be a hindrance. Don't want to bother your family. I get it. By the way, sorry. That was unexpected. Lenore!
You know what? Bill is the one from the fucking Raven.
The Raven.
Yep.
Quote the Raven. Lenore!
Nevermore. Now shut the fuck up.
And so the Hank family's...
Oh man, and Edgar Allan Poe is rolling around in his grave right now.
And to think it makes sense because the guy in that story is basically a widow after losing his wife. So I mean, it makes sense that Bill's
Widower,
the guy.
You mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I actually have the book in my damn room, Joe.
Yeah, I read it around Halloween last month to some.
Oh
of my
God,
students.
just like, oh God, making up like a rendition of your own Treehouse Horror.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, it's so bad. Oh God, if we get a soundboard, we just gotta put Bill saying Lenore.
You know what? We should fucking read that like next Halloween, but like do it the point of view of Bill. Point of view.
There we go.
The guy and since I have a book, I'm calling dibs on being the damn narrator. Okay.
There you go.
Who's gonna be the Raven? I can talk to the Raven.
Yeah, you just scream Lenore.
Called the Raven. Sorry guys, we're going off a tangent.
Derail, that's okay.
We're gonna clip this and we're gonna just make this a separate video.
Oh, so like
behind the scenes.
short.
Like you know how people
Yeah.
clip things and they just make them into videos. So that's like, well, if you didn't see the stream,
Yeah.
here's like the funny things. This will count as one of them.
Oh, that like Lenore thing, like the Raven thing should be a Christmas special.
But no, that's more of a Halloween thing more than
Here's
anything.
the thing: Lenore left his ass around Christmas, therefore it's perfect.
What? We should just have Kevin episodes around Christmas time then. Because Bill
Then
is
we show-
Bill is basically a Kevin at this point.
At least he's not Kevin the Carrot. That's for you, babe.
Anyway, so all the Hill family's having fun eating now that Bill's not there. Here's Bill's version of dinner: cooking spaghetti, taking it out of the boiling water, putting it on the cutting board, just swirling it up in a spoon, and then putting it in his mouth, and then drinking tomato sauce as he's gobbling down the spaghetti.
What?
And here's Joe's head exploding.
You thought Kay's cooking was bad. Let's do Bill's cooking next.
And Joe is absolutely triggered by Bill's cooking. He's like, "What the fuck did you do to my meal, you son of a bitch?"
I mean, Kay's stuff isn't edible. This is just crazy.
Yeah,
By the way, he breaks his...
sorry for her.
Yeah, and the only reason he did that is because he broke his own plate in the house.
Is
Ugh.
Bill also racist, or because Kay's racist?
Well, doesn't surprise me. It's the South. They're all racist.
I don't think Bill's never been racist on the show.
Well, then
Like,
again,
He
but then
loves
again...
I think he's just a little bit obsessive. That's it.
Well, then again, they've only had like a few episodes where they talked about racism because they had that one episode about Lady Bird like biting a black guy, and they said your dog's racist.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only time they've ever talked about it. They don't really, but it's Texas, so.
Yeah, but it turned out to be like some type of gas leak or something.
Yeah.
That caused that.
Yeah, of course. But that was also like a criticism of the libs at the time. Anyway, so Bill not being happy about the Hank's family having fun, steals like one of Hank's ladders and then tries to kill himself by trying to jump off the roof, and then just fails miserably. And so everyone's like, okay, we got to watch Bill 24/7. It's like, why don't we just send him to a psychiatrist? He's suicidal, Peggy. He's not crazy. Again, these people don't believe in therapy unless you're going to a madhouse.
That's where they send all their drug addict kids, not to embarrass them.
You know what I do? You know what I deal? You know how I deal with my problems? I just mow the lawn. That's therapy. That doesn't cost anything.
Lenore.
Cause gas.
Well, I have propane gas, which I get at the shop for free, but I pay it anyway because I'm a hard-working citizen. And everyone's just like, shut up, Hank. Anyway, so now all the guys are watching him around the clock. Bill tries to kill himself by putting his head inside of an electric oven that takes a long time to heat up. Then he tries to kill himself by hitting his head inside the drawer. That doesn't work.
Dude, just hang yourself. It's a lot easier.
They can't do that either. They got rid of all the stuff that he could use as a suicide device. So the other guys are like, I can't watch Bill. It's not in our nature to care about others. So Hank's like, all right, I'll take over your shifts. So he has to give up all his vacation time to look after Bill. And then so Bill then goes to Peggy and says, hey, do you think you could find a date for Peggy at the next dinner? I was like, well, I would have to invite somebody over and then tell her that Bill's not, and then not tell her that Bill's going to be there. Oh, thanks, Peggy. So Peggy invites a woman over named Sheila, and Sheila's just like mad. She's like that mad librarian that you see all the time. And then she's like, "You lied to me, Peggy. Look, Mr. Dopetree collects exotic reptilia. You collect pillowcases. Yes, I have a couple of pillowcases in my house, but that doesn't make me insane." And in answer to your question, Mr. Dopetree, I find iguanas despicable. The Lenore, the iguana, pees on his jacket. It's like, well, when it's your own. It's like, you are a gross man. And then he tries to propose to her right on the spot. And she's like, "I just want my coat. For the love of God, give me my coat."
Bill, you're turning into a fucking simp.
He's a Kevin. And then the iguana jumps out the window. He's like, "Lenore, don't leave me." It's like, "Sheila, I probably shouldn't have told you this, but I already gave Bill your number." It's like, Hank, you gotta help me. You gotta help me find Lenore. Don't you see this Lenore business is your problem, Bill? She's never coming back. She doesn't want any of these presents you got her. So Hank destroys all the presents, and then Bill just like stands there in silence. He's like, I don't feel anything, Hank.
Is this the episode where he fucking starts dressing like?
That's what happens next.
Oh!
They find, like, Hank finds the iguana, brings it back to Bill. It's like, "Hey, what are you doing in Bill's backyard?" "Hey, Hank, don't you recognize me? I'm Lenore."
The man lost his mind. Let's get him some help.
"I came back because I've been too hard on Bill, and I really miss him." Okay, Bill, you have gone too far. I've did my work, but you're not even trying. "Okay, I'll see you at the party." "No, you stay away from my party, you hear? No party." "I'm already invited, so there." "Hey, guys, can you spare a beer for a lady?" "Come on, you know you're Bill." "No, I don't know that. I'm Lenore." "Well, if you're Lenore, then where's Bill?" He's in the house. You want me to go get him?" "I'm skeptical that you could, but intrigued that you may." "Oh, I had to go get myself a sweater. It's chilly." "Yep." All right, that's it. So they try to get Lenore on the phone to talk to Bill while he's at the party, and Lenore's like, "No, I'm not talking to him." And then all of Hank's guests are looking at Bill like he's like, "Go back to Hollywood. This isn't the Democratic National Convention." And then Hank comes out wearing a dress, and then Dale's like, "Wait a minute, was this on the invitation, Hank? I didn't know we were supposed to wear dresses." Bill runs out of the house because everybody's making fun of him. So all of a sudden, then Hank just turns into Lenore at this point, and then tries to speak through Bill. It's like, "I don't love you, Bill." It was, "Oh, no, wait, Lenore, I could change. I'm a good husband." And it's like, "Bill, if I wanted to work this out, I would have called. I don't love you anymore." "Well, that's it? That's why you left? Simple as that? You didn't even have the courtesy to give me a Dear John letter? Well, I consider that rude." "So you get out! You get out! You don't deserve Bill De La Tordotreve!" So he went from being a simp to now being an incel. At that point.
Cell.
Yeah, he went full incel at that point. It's like, well, as long as you stop getting to be Lenore, that's all we care about. Merry Christmas. Meanwhile, Dale walks out wearing a dress, and he's like, eat, and runs back in the house when they take their dresses off.
Dell maybe a second dumb bricks, but I sure love him as a character.
Well, yeah, because he's supposed to be a satire on all this the conspiracy theorists out there.
I know, that's why I love it. It's so funny.
The next one's the firefighting episode where they get accused of like setting the firehouse on fire. So like the fire person is trying to figure out like who started the fire. So they're like going through a vigorous investigation process, and they're able to get out. Oh, what? Go ahead, Soph.
I'll say it when you're done with it.
Like this.
All I can hear is Billy's Kill stuck in my head right now. We did start the fire.
Like they try to get Boomhauer's side of the story, and everyone's talking like Boomhauer, but Boomhauer's the only one that's speaking right. It's like, I'm trying to read a vintage Camaro magazine, and I've been on the same dang page for 20 minutes. But
I was gonna say that I liked how they did in like each character's perspective.
Yes. As hilarious as they all were. But then they blamed it on the one guy that just decided to die and retire and then die because they had like a specific sign in the firehouse, but they always kept it on. So it's like, well, we're gonna blame it on the dead guy because he left his light on. It's like, well, we have been trying to tell him for a long time to get that damn light off. All right, you guys are free to go.
Let's go get a beer, guys.
There's even a point where, like, Bill's face gets turned red because it gets hot. It's like, oh, my face hurts. And it's going to match your ass when I'm done kicking it. Okay, this next one is, like, Bobby joins the soccer team.
I don't even remember this one.
Yeah, well, the thing was Bobby's on the football team. But the coach is like, nobody likes the head coach. So Hank's like, hey, let's go get our coach that helped us get to the state championships back when we were playing. And so they get the old coach to come back. But it turns out none of the guys like his hard coaching football style. So they all decide to go to the soccer team. And Hank's like, Bobby, let me tell you something about soccer. Soccer was invented by... oh, God, how did it go? Soccer was invented by housewives to keep their men from doing something. I don't know. But he's basically trying to say that soccer is a girl's sport. It's not an American sport. Like, only girls play soccer. American football is for men. And you joining a girly sport is not necessarily helping the American cause there, Bobby. It's like, yeah, but the coach is a real jerk. At least this soccer coach guy is nice to us. And again, the one thing that they get wrong about soccer is everybody like this show, like the way that they write this episode, they make it seem like that soccer is not a competitive sport. Ask anybody that is in Europe that is like a huge soccer fan. There are riots that go on when their team does not do well. Like if
I know it.
It's a thing. Like they are very competitive. Soccer is just a sport that takes a very long time to get goals, and it's like they're very low scoring games. And it's a lot of strategy and a lot of defense. But here in America, it's like, oh, that's boring. I want to see men like tackle each other to the ground. And that's like, well, that says a lot more about you than it does the game.
Like, I want to see blood.
Well, yeah, and it's also implied that they like to see like grown men like play with each other on the ground or tackle each other to the ground in a very way. Yeah, so Bobby like eventually is like, I'm going back to the football team because nobody's taking this seriously. It's like, well, it's like because they make it seem like the opponents are just giving him the ball, and I'm like, oh. This is like a pro-America episode, which is another reason why this doesn't do well. But at least Hank is like, wow, my coach is a real jerk. So I'm gonna replace him by being on the. I'm gonna replace him by me taking over as coach. So yeah, this was not. It was not a good episode. I'll just say that. All right, next one. Oh, this is the one where Bobby gets gout. Oh wait, no. Wait, is this the one where he gets gout? Yeah, this is the one where he gets gout. He gets gout because they go to a New York deli, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to eat this New York crap," but then Bobby likes it, and because he's eating such rich foods, he gets gout in his toes, and now he has to get like a scooter to go around. Meanwhile, the dance is going on, and then Bobby and Connie have been wanting. Well, Connie's been like, "Bobby, why don't we go to the dance together?" And then I was like, "Hey, I'm going to the dance with Connie." Joseph's like, "Oh, I'm so jealous. You guys are gonna kiss and everything." And then Bobby's thinking in his mind, "Oh my God, if we kiss, we won't be friends anymore. We'll be like a couple." So he tries to come up with every excuse not to go to the dance. Meanwhile, Hank gets an invitation to go to the Museum of Modern Art in Dallas, and it's a picture of his colon backed up from when he had constipation in the first season. They try to pass it off as art, and then Hank tries to get the museum to take it down. He's like, "That's not art, that's my colon." And so,
wouldn't happen in real life, though, right?
No, definitely not. Yeah, you wouldn't be allowed to put that up there. This was just done for comedic purposes. Yeah, no artist is that stuck up enough that they're gonna put like a random picture of some guy's colon up and call it art. No, it does not work like that. Now, if the guy painted a colon and said this was inspired by Hank's colon, then you got something. But they just took a picture of somebody's X-ray and then just put it up and called it art. Like, no, that's not art. That's somebody's medical history. That's HIPAA violations. Then meanwhile, Connie's upset with Bobby because, like, she's like, "Are you gonna go to the dance or not?" Like, "No, I don't want to go to the dance." And then so finally, Bobby works up the courage while he's got gout to try to get to the dance so he could dance with Connie because he realizes, like, oh, it's more important to dance with her than worry about kissing her. And she's like, "I got a date." And then she's like, "Okay, I lied. I didn't get a date. I just wanted to make you jealous." And this will play in a later episode because their picture gets taken and everybody thinks they're a couple. Okay, so this next one, Khan loses his job because he reveals secret government information to Hank because he's trying to one up Hank by saying that he's got a better job than Hank does, and Hank's just like,
Hank.
Yeah, and Hank's just like, whatever. And Khan's like, "No, you're supposed to be impressed. You're supposed to say that I'm the better than you." It's like, "Okay, Khan, like, I'm just here for a propane contract." It's like, "I don't want your propane contract. I just wanted to say that my job is better than yours." What? Well, you got some goddamn nerve, Khan. And because he leaked government secrets, Khan gets fired from his job. And then he tries to get other jobs at like one of those Staples places, like those office supply stores. He gets fired there. He gets fired at another place. And then so Khan just leaves and just runs away, leaving like Ming and Connie all to themselves. And so Hank starts doing chores for Ming around the house. Peggy gets jealous. And so now Ming and Peggy are fighting over Hank, and then Bill's crying. It's like, "Oh, there's two women fighting over him. Why can't it be me?"
You're a creep. You're a creep.
You're an incel, Mr. Dotrieve.
You're an incel. Bill Dotrieve.
Exactly. There you go. How the Dotrieve ruined Christmas.
If only we could find a instrumental of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," and we make our own cover.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not a singer, so I can't do it. So we'll have to get we'll have to see if like Mooney or Circus is up for it. So anyway, like Hank finally finds him in a bathroom. Like he's living in like a fast food restaurant's bathroom. And then finally he gets a job all the way in Houston, and Ming's like, "Oh no, you're commuting all the way to work now. Fuck it. We're not moving again. These rednecks accept us here." And the only thing Bobby's worried about is like, well, if Connie's broke, what am I gonna do? Meanwhile, Bobby's trying to take Laotian classes to help Ming around get some money. And Ming's like, I'm teaching him the Southern dialect. He's too good enough for our language. He's not good enough for our language, I should say.
Wow.
And whenever you say there's the Southern dialect in any language, you know it's bad. Like, if anyone tells you I'm teaching him Sicilian instead of Italian, you know that it's bad. Because Italians do not like Sicilians all that much. It's the same in Laos, though. Laos has a southern district where nobody in the north likes them. Okay, let's see what the next episode is. Oh, okay, this one's the magic show one. This one was also bad, I will say, this episode. Like, Hank is not happy with the fact that Bobby's gonna have a room with painted clouds all over it. Like, what's the problem with him having painted clouds everywhere? And Hank's like, he is a teenager. Teenagers should not be thinking about clouds. He can look outside. What if it's nighttime? He can wait till it's morning. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So, they go to a magic show at Abracapasta. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting name for an Italian restaurant. So they have this magic show with this Mexican magician, and he's like, I'm going to make Peggy disappear. And of course, Hank is trying to tell Peggy, here's how he does all the tricks. And Peggy finally has enough, says, look, we know that it's not real. The fun of it is to make believe that it's real. You got it, Hank? Let us have fun with it. Stop trying to put logic in everything. That's like somebody it's like Hank is like that one person that goes to the movies with a date and then tries to tell them everything about how the movie is made. And we're just like, shut up. I don't want to know the technicalities of how the movie was made. Just want to enjoy the picture. So Peggy gets involved in the trick, and the magician's like, you can't tell your husband how we did the trick. And Hank is like just trying to figure out, how did she do that? How did she disappear? How did she what happened? And so like he's trying to get Peggy to tell her what happened, and he's not having it. By the way, Hank's face while he's sitting down watching the magic show is like pure hilarity. He's just like, I'm not having this. I'm too logical for this. But, so at one point he locks Peggy inside of a box and says, I'm not letting you out until you tell me how the trick was done. And she's like, get me out of this goddamn box, Hank. Meanwhile, Bobby's going to do a Bible report on Jesus for Sunday school. And so he decides to do one on. He decides to do his show as if Jesus was a magician. So he has. It's like, I'm the amazing Jesus. I'm gonna turn water into wine. Kaboom! And so he starts doing all the things that happen in the Bible as if they're magic tricks, which essentially they are. And now for my next trick, I'm going to need a cross, and I'm going to need things to put my hands in to keep myself on the cross. No! And so Peggy and Hank start yelling at each other because this is all about the magic show thing. So Bobby tries to do something to get them to stop arguing. So Bobby paints his own room with clouds again. And tries to convince Peggy that it was Hank that did it. And it says, well, now that Dad did our room the way I wanted, maybe you could tell him how the magic trick went. And Peggy's like, oh, so this was all so you can get your little magic trick thing while I'm not telling you. It's like, what are you talking about? I didn't do that. And it's like, oh no, I just made it worse. So then they're arguing in the room and they start kicking each other in the leg. And then they start... Yeah. It gets to a point where the arguments get so bad, like, they just start kicking each other in the shins. And then they start laughing for some reason. And then Bobby's like, wait, you guys are not fighting anymore. Yeah, well, your mother kicked me in the shins, and I kicked her in the shins, and yeah, that's what happens. But that doesn't make any sense. Well,
domestic disputes.
Yeah, domestic violence. That's like, but...
Tom would be so proud, kicking everybody in the shins.
He's like, but that doesn't make any sense. Well, Bobby, things are not supposed to make sense sometimes. And that's how the episode ends. They just look up at the clouds on the, they just look up at the clouds in Bobby's room, and that's how the episode ends. And people were like, nobody learned anything in this episode. Everyone's just a jerk.
Yeah, but Peggy did show how the magic trick worked.
Yeah, during the end credits. Yeah, during the end credits, they finally revealed.
Scene, Bobby revealed how the trick was done. Well, okay, can I read this part or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Peggy goes inside the piñata. A hidden compartment is revealed to be behind the piñata's tail, where she would exit out and dress like the other assistants. Where during the act, while everyone is looking on stage, Peggy would walk across the room without being seen and return to her, it's supposed to say seat, but it says return to her sit. When the piñata bursts into flames, Bobby then told the viewer not to reveal it to Hank, so he doesn't want Hank to ruin the magic.
And don't tell my dad. Okay, here's another. Oh, here's the Golden Girls episode. This is with Hank's mom. Yeah, they're gonna go to a miniature museum where there's a bunch of miniature dolls, but Hank's like, "Oh my God, I can't let these old ladies drive on their own. They're old ladies." So he takes his mom and the Golden Girls over to this island. Well, at the same time, the Spring Break Festival from MTV is going on. Meanwhile, while this is all going on, Bill is being a creep to Peggy. And just trying to say, well, it's nice to have a man around the house doing something. Bill, Hank left about an hour ago. Oh, if I was... And then he starts using his own shirt to clean the glass windows. Or on the doors. At one point...
You stank-ass bastard.
At one point, he even tries to, like, go to the grocery store to, like, buy barbecue. It's like, I'm doing a barbecue. It's like, I'm not coming to your barbecue, Bill. And
yeah, she's not into it. Whatever.
He even goes to the baseball game and tells goes, "You better put Bobby Hill back in there. I'm responsible for that kid." And then falls off the bleachers and breaks his arm. When Hank comes back, he's like, "Hey, thanks for taking care of Peggy," and it just hits him in the arm. It's like, "Ow, it won't happen again, Hank." But meanwhile, like, Hank is not a fan of going to the miniature museum, and at one point, Tilly, that's Hank's mom's name, Tilly's like, "Hey, oh my God, I left my unicorn miniature back at the hotel. We have to go back and get it. Mom, if we don't make it to the ferry on time, we're gonna get stuck on this island for another day with all these spring break kids." And then, it's like, then they get into a fight. Tilly just gets out of the car and then just tries to get it on her own. And then Hank goes to sees the miniature artist there. It's like, "Hank, you have no idea what these miniatures mean to women. I should know. They come in here every day and tell me how these miniatures have basically saved their lives because they have gone to these little miniatures when they were going through a really rough patch in their lives. Just like your mom. Did you ever have that stuff?" "Well, I mean, there was that one time where my dad was smashing all the plates and then my mom went back to her miniatures. I always thought it was because she was a bad mom. It just turned out she was just going through a rough time, and the miniatures basically helped her get through it. So, God, I didn't realize that these little things mean so much to people." Today, we call those fidgets.
Mm-hmm.
Because back then, people were like, wait, you need items in order to feel better about yourself? It's like, yes, because sometimes people don't do it for you.
Hey, what are you doing?
Hi, elves.
It's on my desk.
Okay, this next one. Dale gets a new mower, and then, and Hank starts getting jealous of Dale's mower, so they decide to steal it and try to play a little game. It's like, well, we're gonna leave clues for Dale about where his stolen lawnmower is at. That's like includes ransom letters and photographs. They even try to convince him it was aliens and former U.S. presidents having the mower. Dale gets so scared over it that he barely sleeps at night. It's like, where's my mower?
Dude, you should not fuck with the conspiracy theorists. They are crazy.
And then at one point, like Bill's like is doing extermination over at the community college over at the clock tower, and they actually mistake his spray gun for an actual gun, and so they call the cops, and then there's like he's staked out in the tower while the cops are up there. And I was like, no, you're not gonna take me alive. The government's after me. And then Hank finally gets up to Dale and said, Dale, I made the whole thing up. I was being a real jackass to you and your mower, and so I did the whole thing. And then I was like, oh my god, they're coming down, shoot him. And then it turns out they shoot. Hank's like, Hank, no. Oh my god, they killed you. Wait, you're wearing a bulletproof vest. It's like, of course. Do you think that I would actually not come up here with a bulletproof vest with you up here, Dale? Yeah, so that's that episode. Then there's the episode where they try to convince the Dallas Cowboys to move their training facility over to Arlen, so they try to do a home video. But everybody tries to be the director of it, so everybody just then quits. Because nobody can live with the idea of, like, their ideas not being heard. And so they just put a bunch of whole movies together, and the Dallas Cowboys say, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I would say this episode is completely meaningless, because it did nothing. It's like one of those things like, oh, our city would be, and the reason why they did it in the first place, because they felt like their kids were going to move to other cities. It's like, what's wrong with Arlen? Arlen's a great place to spend your life. Now they want to go to Houston and Dallas and, Los Angeles and New York. Oh my god, what if they start turning into libtards?
The reason why they want to move that far is to get away from y'all.
Yeah. Oh god, this episode. It's the Lutefisk episode. The one where Bobby eats all the Lutefisk because they have a new pastor coming into their new church, and it's a woman from Minnesota, I believe, or Michigan. I can't remember. Minnesota. So she makes some Lutefisk for everybody, which is like a delicacy up there. Bobby eats the whole thing. And of course, the priest is like, okay, who ate all my Lutefisk? I'm not going to judge you, but I want to know who it is. And of course, Bobby feels guilty about it. He goes like, it's so disgusting, yet so good at the same time. So the next day at church, like, Bobby really has to go to the bathroom. And so he goes to the bathroom. And meanwhile, Cotton's there as well, because he doesn't like the idea of a woman priest being at Hank's church. So Cotton goes to the bathroom.
Bill invited him.
Yeah, because Dale invited him. Of course he did.
Sorry, Dale.
And then Cotton goes to the bathroom, and then he's like, "Oh my God, the smelly man!" and leaves a cigarette and leaves some matches in the bathroom. Bobby, to try to get rid of the smell, lights some matches. And then accidentally leaves a match lit in the trash, which ends up burning down the church. So automatically they think it's Cotton, because Cotton's matches were found because it's from a strip club that he went to.
Of course.
Cotton's like, no, it wasn't me. It was the smelly man. Find the smelly man and you'll find your perp.
I can't help but laugh.
He even tells Bobby that. He's like, don't find the smelly man, Bobby. I'm innocent. And then Bobby knows who did it. It's him. And he's like, I can't tell it. I feel so guilty, but I don't want to let Grandpa get hung for the rest, like hung in death row. So while they're at the police station, Bobby tells his family what happened, and then Khan's like, "No, we can't let the people know the truth. It will ruin Bobby's life forever. I'll take the rap. I'll say it was me." And then, of course, the new priest is like, "Well, he's old, so we'll forgive him."
That's the exact quote from it. I'm an old man. Everyone already hates me, but Bobby's just a child. He's got his whole life ahead of him.
Exactly.
You know, he may be an asshole, but he really loves his fucking grandson.
And good Hank, which you'll find out later.
True.
Okay, I don't know if this has already happened yet, but there's this really interesting thing that I don't think a lot of people point out about Cotton is that, okay, so remember how when Khan and his family moved in and everyone's like, oh, are you Chinese or Japanese?
Yeah.
Cotton immediately knew he was from Laos.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because in other countries you can actually tell which country somebody's from because they go into specific details.
I mean, like Cotton, you know, the racist?
Yo, yeah, that too. But I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, in America, like, they don't teach you that stuff. But Cotton knew because, well, he was in war, and he just happened to know.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He was in the army.
Yeah. But, okay, the next episode, Peggy meets somebody in death row. Speaking of death row. Peggy,
oh my god, I remember this one.
Peggy goes to meet somebody in death row because she gets a letter from somebody who claims to have been a student of hers back in the day. And so she goes to meet him, and she doesn't recognize him, but she just takes him at his word that she taught him. And he's like, hey, look, I want to learn how to play Boggle. Hey, listen, my sister's got a Boggle hourglass. Can you please bring it in for me? And in the hourglass is sister, wife, I can't remember.
That was his girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's an hourglass full of Coke. And she keeps making these trips. It's like, oh, my hourglass broke. Can I get a new one for my girlfriend? And she keeps smuggling cocaine, thinking it's like hourglass sand. And the way she gets out of it is like she tells the way she gets out of it is she tells the God, what do they call it? The warden. It's like, whose word are you gonna believe? The substitute teacher of the year for 2 years in a row, or a person on death row? And she's like, well, you got a point, Peggy. You're free to go.
Especially since apparently the empty timer looks like it's been licked clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be able to tell there were, like, traces of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Be able to completely get that out of there.
Then again, this is Texas.
Oh, forgot to mention the B plot. Elle wanted to be an executioner.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, I want to do it. It's like, well, we'll put your name on the list. And then he's like at the very end of the list.
Then erases it.
And then erases it. I never had you as a teacher. I'm from Arkansas. I'm almost 40, for God's sake. All right, this next one. This is where Luann claims to see Buckley's angel on the trampoline. Yeah, because they have a trampoline outside, and she sees Buckley on it, and she's like, Buckley is going to give me something to, says I got to do something better with my life. Because she's flunking out of hair and beauty school. This is where they start doing that whole thing. It's like, well, Luann's not going to hair and beauty school anymore. She's going to community college. Which, oh my God, looking back on this now, like what a waste of a character arc.
Right.
Like, what I'm like, oh my god, we went through like several seasons of it, and then they just completely abandoned it later. Like, they just dropped the ball with so many characters, like as
So
the
many
seasons went on.
arcs.
Yeah, so many arcs and so many characters just get thrown by the wayside just to make room for more Dale episodes and more Bill episodes. Yeah, so she decides to leave beauty school and just go to community college. Meanwhile, everybody
She had a car accident.
yeah, that too. Meanwhile, all the other guys think that Buckley's a real guardian angel. Even Khan thinks so. So they're all trying to reach out, and they don't want to move the trampoline because they feel like it's an angel, like basically telling them everything.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also the episode where like Luann gets a wig from like the other classmates. Okay, who the
Yes.
hell's echoing?
I don't know.
Yeah, get out from there.
Yeah, they give her like a wig as a joke. It's like, oh, you're this is a joke present for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next episode. Okay, this is the one where Hank is in charge of the softball team for his work. So he tries to recruit Peggy because the employees' wives are allowed to play and there's a rule that there have to be a women's pitcher. By the way, this is where Thatterton is played by the guy who voices Dale, and no longer Burt Reynolds. I'm like, damn it. They couldn't get Burt Reynolds for a few more episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were able to get Tom Petty for a lot of episodes, and Tom Petty was doing concerts at that time. Anyway, so yeah, so also Dale gets on the team because it's like, Dale, you have to have a Strickland pay stub or be a Strickland wife. He's like, I sprayed Strickland for termites. I got a pay stub. I'm on the team. I'm on the team. Oh, meanwhile in the B story, it turns out that Bobby and Connie are on the couples page in the yearbook. And so, like, she joined the Girl Scouts, Connie did, and Bobby tries to eat one of their cookies. Like, I can make better cookies than this. So the whole episode, Bobby is trying to prove that his cookies are better than the Arrowhead girls, or the Arrow Girl cookies. And Connie's like, what are you doing? You're embarrassing me. And later tries the cookies, like, wow, my boyfriend actually makes pretty good cookies. And he's like, boyfriend? And that's how they officially become a couple. Yeah, but in this one, like, Hank tries to convince Peggy to join the team, and finally she joins when she overhears Thatterton and the guy, the other, the school coach, because they were talking bad about women, and it's like, I'm saving, and finally starts pitching for him. But then the only reason why the team wins is because Peggy is just striking out everybody. And Hank's jealous because he wants all the credit because he's coaching the team. But everybody's like saying that Peggy's the one that's doing everything. So finally Hank guilts Peggy, and it's like, you need to listen to me because I'm your husband.
Oh, hell no.
Time to throw hands.
Yep, and and because of that, she does horribly. And then finally, at the end of the episode, Hank's like, I'm taking myself out of the game to watch your mom play. Because I realized I've been a complete jackass.
Oh, yes, you have.
And probably will be in later episodes. Let's see. Okay, and the final episode, which is a two-parter. So it's Peggy and Pank. Oh, wow. Peggy and Panks. Oh, my God.
I guess that's what they call them as a couple now, I guess.
Heggy and Pank?
Yeah.
Heggy Panky. Oh, God.
Pank. They're called Pank.
So they're celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary, and they look back on everything, and they're like, God, we are old, Hank. We are so old. Remember all the things that we promised that we would do when we were younger? Like we would start a battery business, or we would do all these things, and we never did them. I don't want to live a boring wedding life. I don't want to have a boring relationship, Hank. We need to do something fun. And then it's like, oh, let's go skydiving. That will spice up our relationship. So what happens is, oh, by the way, Dee Dee's also going into labor with Good Hank. So
Oh no.
Bobby's the one who's stepping up the whole time.
well, yes,
Yeah.
because first of all, like Bobby goes to Houston back home with Cotton because to stay with them while Hank and Peggy celebrate their anniversary on their own. Luann is supposed to be going to on a trip, but the trip gets canceled, so she tries to stay in the house without Peggy and Hank knowing that they're there, that she's there. And then so because Dee Dee's going to labor, Bobby drives her all the way back to Arlen so she can have the baby. And so as they're trying to do skydiving, so they end up skydiving, Hank does, and then Peggy's like, I'm too scared to do it. And then Hank's like, yeah, you gotta do it, it's fun, it's exciting. Oh, by the way, Bobby's there. Bobby just told me that Dee Dee's having the baby. And then so Peggy jumps out the plane, and then her parachute and her backup parachute don't work, and she falls.
It was Luann who was there.
Oh, Luann, my bad. And so yeah, so she falls, and the chutes won't open, and she falls to her death, apparently, because this was to be continued. Because this was like the season finale for season 3 before the next season started. And by the way,
Meanwhile, Bobby is Dee Dee's birthing partner, even though the whole thing's like, what the hell? No, why am I doing this?
Yeah. So in the next episode, you find out that Peggy survived because she fell into mud. So she has to be in a body cast. So Dee Dee has the baby, but she goes into postpartum depression, so she can't really take care of Good Hank. And Cotton won't take care of him. He's like, I'm too old. I don't need to do it.
And you shouldn't have been knocking up young women.
So Bobby has
a vasectomy, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. So Bobby takes
Bowser
care
has
of
a
Good
gun.
Hank.
What the hell?
Ow! Ew.
Yeah, so Bobby takes care of Good Hank, while Hank tries to take care of Peggy. But like Good Hank and Peggy are both acting like babies, and they both cry at the same time. And everybody else is going through hell, like putting up with everything. And the one thing that at the end of the episode that stops them from crying is Peggy uses her toe to like shake the car seat back and forth that Good Hank is in, and it's like and Peggy's like, it's the greatest thing in the world, Hank. Because again, she wanted to be a mother again to another baby, but it's like, it's Cotton's baby, it's not mine.
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, that's
Hank tries to soothe the child by using keys and a tape measure.
Yeah, he's like, are you really my brother? And so yeah, that's the entirety of season 3.
How many more seasons we got left?
We got
10 more?
10 more seasons.
Ah.
Yeah, 10 more seasons, and you know who makes an appearance later down the line?
I forgot.
Lenore!
Oh, I forgot that bitch.
She actually
No.
Yeah, she actually does make an appearance again.
Yeah, after like Bill finds someone else.
Hell off my
Yeah, the governor of Texas.
Exactly.
Yeah, imagine Kevin being in that situation. It's like, oh, my ex-partner is like coming back to me now that I finally are at that I'm like actually seeing like a politician. Like a politician thinks I'm hot, and now my ex-partner wants to date me again. That would be like a dream for a Kevin personality. But that's in a later season, which we'll talk about. Oh, in the next season, we get to see Drew Carey in an episode.
Oh God, just like Hank.
Yes. Actually, I think Hank's appearance was actually based on Drew Carey in the beginning. And then they just drew Drew Carey and they decided to make an episode on it.
Hank also kind of looked like an act like, what was this guy's name, Mr. Anderson from Beavis and Butthead.
Oh yeah, that's
Tom Anderson, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why that one guy called in to Mike Judge's answering machine that sounded like Boomhauer, and that's how Boomhauer came into the mix.
I'll tell you what.
I'm trying to think of some other episodes from season 4 that I'm blanking on. I can't think. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and watch some of them again.
Right.
I think one of the Christmas episodes was like the Y2K episode.
Yeah.
God, that's one of my favorite episodes actually, simply because like everybody believes that Y2K's happening. So just watching their antics is the most hilarious thing. Like they even find somebody that's wilder than Dale, and Dale's just like, "That's it? This is your guy? He's gonna save us from Y2K?" I was like, "Oh my goodness, that's great."
I remember around that time, people acted pretty damn stupid.
Not me. I was just like, okay. People. I remember watching an old. There was like a Penn and Teller episode called like a show called Bullshit, and they did one on Y2K. They showed a guy that basically just had an entire fortress because he thought like, oh hey, it's gonna be this is gonna happen, so we got to be prepared for the end times. And it's like, oh my god, this guy is wasting his life.
This is probably the same guy who probably, like, got ready for every fucking natural disaster and shit.
Yes.
Oh, here goes the mine teller. Time to stock up. Oh, zombie apocalypse? Well, I've got my guns.
What the funny thing is, like the whole zombie apocalypse thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could just wear like you're full like dressed fully in denim, and it wouldn't be as bad because human teeth isn't that strong. I wouldn't be able to get through that.
Dude, they're just dead bodies. Just fucking burn them.
Too.
Not edible though.
Mm-hmm.
So just get like a whole bunch of rations. Get a bunch of chocolate. Get some crackers. Just
Oh boy, campfire.
Yeah, with s'mores.
Dude, I'd be trying to find the closest drug dealer so I can get some pot.
If there are still drug dealers out there at the time that happens.
Yeah, but you gotta do it before the apocalypse happens.
But you would have to
Let's see, we got ourselves a camp.
You would have to predict when the apocalypse happens, though.
Right. I wish Joker said if it ever happened, I'm ending up at Walmart.
Like at a Walmart with some pot.
No, I just go there with the rest of the supplies. Get it all. And again, some motherfucker might. There'd be like thousands of people in Walmart too.
Now I'm just picturing a zombie named Lenore.
No, no.
And she's like the boss zombie. She tells all the other zombies what to do.
Exactly.
It's like, well, people think that we're actually a brain, that we just have an appetite for brains. No, we're actually pretty intelligent people. We just hate the fact that we're decaying.
Right. Don't worry, Timmy's on the case for a cure.
All right.
Down with the stereotype for zombies.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So next time
A
on
long
the
time ago, I was.
next time on the
Go ahead.
laundromat, we'll do season 4.
Right.
We'll get ready for that, and then it will be December by the time that happens. So maybe we'll do a little December ween shit also at the same time.
And there's also a little bit of a day from around then as well.
Yes, that too. Maybe that's when we'll do the Japanese commercials, if we could find a compilation of them.
But yes.
So maybe that will be a little project, is to try to find a compilation of all those commercials somehow.
I'm sure there's someone out there that put it together.
Oh,
yes,
I'm sure.
and we will be laughing hysterically. And maybe the rest of the laundromat will get a hoot out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially the
Shane-
banana ones.
Shane needs a good laugh. He's been trying to beat me at Boggle all week. He's
Boggle.
never gonna win. Yeah,
Boggle.
he got bored. Yeah, Boggle.
Boggle.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you keep playing Boggle, and we'll close the shop now. So until next time, you have to go somewhere else, but you're not staying here. So
Ain't no selling drugs outside the laundromat, or else we'll call the cops.
I mean, weed is legalized in the laundromat, so there's gonna be no problem with that.
No, we having a fucking coke epidemic outside.
Yes, that are putting it in hourglasses.
This is a Pepsi only place.
Yeah.
Saying that you're a Pepsi place is like saying that you're a charcoal grill place instead of propane.
You find orange soda.
Oh my god, that's even worse. Now you're trying to be green with that shit.
Well, we tried to sell root beer, but someone kept stealing it.
So
I blame the chicken.
well, root beer, that's not even a real drink. That's not even beer. They just say that because it came from roots somehow. What the fuck?
I don't know all about that, but we got a giant chicken that has a root beer problem.
You figure that out. Anyway,
Yes, I will.
Anyway, we'll catch you all next time. Until then,